Hey guys, I'm gonna show you how to use a Freebetrange Dashboard to fully organize Preflop in your school, to manage licenses of your students and to track their activity and training progress. So first you sign in Dashboard with your school manager account, and the first screen you end up on is Leaderboard. It shows the full list of your students sorted by their training volume and efficiency. For every student here, you can see their date of the last login in the account, also the number of hands they played in the classic trainer and the number of ranges they draw in the range training mode. And of course, their training score for the both methods. The last column, total score, represents a kind of combined score, and by default this list sorted by this column. You can use filters here. You can filter by dates, and you can also choose specific group of students. I will tell about the groups a bit later, and also specific training. Also, you can click on any student and go to their individual statistics on all trainings. Here you can see the last login date of this student and all the trainings they went through. These stats are for the classic trainer and this one for the range trainer mode. So using this section, you can easily control your students' activity and the training progress. The next section is students. Here you can manage your students, add or remove them from the school, and also manage the licenses. For each student here, you can see the date they joined the school, the current license they have, the groups they belong to, and their last login date as well. Let's add a new student to a school as an example. You should enter the student email here, and the student should have an account on freebetrange.com with this exact email. So if your student doesn't have Freebetrange account yet, they should go to freebetrange.com and create an account here. Let's add our new student. You see the new student has been added with the pending status for now. The thing is, after you add a student here, the invitation to the school has been sent to their email. So a student has to accept it. After that, they will be fully added to your school. From the student point of view, it looks like that. They receive that message and they have to click on accept to accept your invitation. Now the school invitation is accepted from the student side. And you can see that our new student is fully added to the school now. 1 month pro trial license has been activated for this student. So all the students you add to your school will automatically receive 1 month free pro trial. You can easily manage your students' licenses here. As you can see, I already activated pro for free students here. If you need, you can cancel the pro license anytime for any student and add it to another one. You see, I just now canceled the pro license for this guy. It becomes the free. The number of the licenses in use just reduced by 1. That way you can full control over your school licenses. Anytime you can activate pro for some students, then cancel if you need and transfer to another students and so on. The only exception is for example here, you see it's written pro self. It means that at the moment you add this student to school, they already had a pro license, so they most likely bought it by themselves. That kind of license belongs to this user and obviously you cannot control it. So it doesn't count to your school licenses and you cannot modify it. But when it comes to an end, and if they do not prolong it by themselves, you'll be able to activate the school license for them as we just did for these guys. Let's activate this guy back for now. That's all about students, and we can go to the next coaches section. This section is pretty straightforward. You can just add coaches to your school. Actually, coaches don't have any specific functionality. They just have an access to dashboard as managers. The difference between coaches and managers in the school is that coaches cannot add other coaches, and coach only have an access to see the results of training for the students in the group this coach belongs to. It's not mandatory to create coach account for all your coaches. It's totally up to you. Basically, if you don't care, you can just use one manager account and share it with all your coaches and managers, and you can all use one account to access dashboard. It's also fine. But if you want to organize everything properly and you want all your coaches have specific accounts so they track progress only in their groups, you can add coaches here. Let's move to the last groups section. Here you can create groups of students. The logic behind this is that every group can have their own ranges and trainings configuration. You can divide students in your school by different parameters as you like. For example, it can be by level, like newbies and more advanced players, or by game type like here for MTT and cash. If you have a big school and you have a separate department for different game types, you can create a separate group for each of them. And if you have a small school and basically all your school is one group, it's also fine. Just create one group here. The only thing is that you should have at least one group here, so you'll be able to assign a configuration of ranges and trainings to the students. So to create a new group, just hit new group, enter any group name and choose the color. It's very obvious. I'm not going to create a new group now. Let's just stick with what I have here. And let's go inside the cash group, for example. Here in the first tab we have a list of all students belong to this group. The next tab is coaches. It's obviously the list of coaches who's responsible for this group. You can add any coaches from your coaches list to this group if needed. And the last tab is configuration for this group. Here you need to upload your .fbrange configuration with ranges and trainings for this specific group. For that, you need to sign in freebetrange.com with your school account. And here you need to create your ranges configuration if you don't have it yet. For example, here I have this cash school ranges folder that I'm going to use as a configuration for my cash group. And what's also important, you should create the specific trainings with the ranges from this folder so you can track users' training progress on that trainings in your leaderboard. So let's suppose you have those ranges. Then you need to go to the trainer and create a few trainings contained ranges from this folder. What trainings you want to have, it's totally up to you. It depends how you want to organize your training process. Maybe you just need one training includes all your ranges. It's also fine. You can select all your ranges and name your training something like general, cash general. So we create that training. But also you can add any number of other trainings as well. For example, maybe you want to create separate trainings for different positions. I will create the trainings for EP as an example. The trainings we just created should have appeared in the bottom here. So here you can create any number of trainings using your ranges that will be available for your students in the specific group, and you'll be able to track progress on them. After you create your ranges and trainings, you just go to export configuration. Here you just leave anyone as it is, and here you can select what exactly will be included in your configuration. Those are editor, viewer, and trainer settings. And if you want all your students use universal settings of application, you can include that in your export too. If you include that options in your export, the settings you are using in this account will be used as a default settings, and all your student settings will be overwritten with them. I think it's mostly relevant for trainer settings because we have specific settings for trainer about RNG usage, RNG orientation, and showing original range. These settings might be different, depends on the style of training you prefer. So if you want these settings to be the same in all students in your group, it's better to include the trainer settings in your export configuration window. Let's suppose we're gonna include trainer settings, but we will not include these ones. Now we should also choose the specific ranges and trainings we want to include in configuration. So we will select our cash school ranges folder, and we go to the trainings and select 2 of these trainings we created. After that, just hit export. As you can see, that FB range file has been downloaded, and you can use it as a configuration in your school dashboard. So we go back to dashboard, and here what we need to do is to choose the file that has been created. There is also a restrict editing option here. You can tick that option if you want to prohibit modifying of ranges and trainings for your students. Using this option, again, is totally up to you, whether you find with your students to make slight adjustments to ranges or trainings, or you want to prohibit any modifications of school ranges and trainings to make sure that they remain the same for all students. After you upload your file and decide about this option, you can click Upload Config. This configuration will be uploaded, and the config version will be increased to 3. Then if you update your config again, it will become 4, and so on. After your new configuration is uploaded, you can hit Update All Users button. If you click it and confirm here, the configuration for all students in this group will be updated to the last version. Besides that, you can update config for specific students individually. Let's go back to students here. You can see now all the students have the latest version of the config. But let's take our new student that we just created and add it to this group. So we go back to the students, copy the student's email, go back to the group, and add this student to the group. Okay, the student has been added, and now they have 0 version, so the group configuration is not loaded for this student yet. To show exactly how it looks, I just signed in under this student, and you see from their point of view, they have this pro trial activated when you added them to the school, but they don't have the school ranges yet. There is only default configuration. Now if we see again from the manager point of view, and we update this student, now they have the actual version of the school configuration. So again, if we see from the student point of view and refresh the page, you see the school ranges just appeared and the trainings as well. Now if this student go ahead and train, for example, let's play a few hands here. So if the student play, let's suppose 2 hands, and then we go again to the dashboard and see in the leaderboard, this student just appears and we see that he played 2 hands with a 100% classic score. So now this student performance is under tracking as well. That's pretty much it about dashboard. I'm happy that you watched this guide to the end. We hope that this dashboard will be convenient for you and it will help you to control your students' performance, so your students will become Preflop crushers and bring more EV to themselves and to your school. Thank you guys, and let me know if you have any questions about the things that I said in the video, or if you have any additional questions while you will be using this dashboard, we're always happy to answer in our support chat.